first topic of the third module, language processor. As a block diagram shows, language processor is a system software which accepts the program in one language as an input and would produce the output in some other language. So basically there are four types of language processor, namely compiler, interpreter, hybrid compiler, and assembler. I repeat, compiler, interpreter, hybrid compiler, assembler. Now taking into consideration of compiler, let's look deeply into it. A compiler is a language processor which accepts the program in source language and generates the output in target language, which is nothing but a machine level language. It can be represented as shown below in a block diagram. Now moving on to interpreter. Interpreter is a language processor which accepts the source program in a high level language, and along with it is fed a data as its input and produces an output in machine level language. An interpreter executes the program line by line and hence produces better error diagnostic messages to the user, which would be useful for debugging. The below diagram shows how an interpreter actually works. Talking about the hybrid compiler. Hybrid compiler is also a language processor which basically accepts the source program as its input and generates an intermediate program. This intermediate program along with the input data is given to a virtual machine as an output to be obtained. The program actually is converted into intermediate form so that depending upon the virtual machine it can be converted into whatever platform it has to run on. Basically, if we take an example for this particular compiler, we can take JVM, Java Virtual Machine, which is one of the hybrid compiler. Finally, coming into assembler. Assembler accepts assembly level language as its input and produces a machine level language as its output.